There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Oh, Mothman.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
A great white shark was stolen.
Oh, someone stole a shark?
I got stuff for you don't even know about.
She's a witch. She turned me into a newt.
Who knows? Anything could be possible. Anything could be possible.
It's really big abduction vibes.
Holy moly.
It sounds like you were abducted.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
A whale surfaces in the central Atlantic. It's a young humpback whale making his first migration without his mother. From the dark depths, the youngling is being followed. In a flash, the whale is struck with teeth and muscle, becoming a meal for one of Earth's mightiest predators. This is the fate of many young whales in the waters that Megalodon calls home.
Hello, and welcome back to the Scorn Podcast. I'm the great and powerful Mr. E.
And I'm the infamous Jay.
And thank you, Spencer, for recording that exciting intro. So we started doing that during the Bermuda Triangle stuff, and you guys really liked it. And some of you Patreon members specifically wanted to join in on the fun.
What, your little intros?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Spencer did the first one.
Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah, thank you. If anybody else wants to, there will be a waiting list and everything like that, but more than welcome to message us. We'll get you on the waiting list. I'll tell you the topic, but the audio has to be decent. So Spencer went out and got a microphone and everything like that. So we appreciate you.
That's awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the first time I heard that.
Yeah, so that was a surprise for Jay.
Yeah. Thank you again, Spencer. That's awesome.
I think that was a lot of fun.
So we're going to do that for all of our Patreon members? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty
okay.
much. If anybody else wants to get involved, there'll be, Patreon members get first dibs on the list, and then we'll go through that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Patreon members always get first dibs.
Oh, of course they do.
But yeah, so there's your surprise for the topic. I try not to do the topic till after the top of house stuff.
Right.
But now you guys know, and we'll
mentioned.
see what my opinion is on this subject later, because a lot of you guys wanted my opinion on this subject for a long time.
Yeah, this one's been requested. I've got some
for a long time.
Some personal requests and stuff for Mr. Megalodon. So
I've been ignoring it. Not saying anything about my opinion, just because I know I've been ignoring it.
Special one.
But yeah, so let's do the top of our house stuff. Paranormality Magazine, we are affiliates. Use our code CORNCREW if you want to get a discount.
Yep. Description below.
And then we get a kickback from that.
That's right.
YouTube. So this Friday, the documentary premieres on our YouTube page, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. So you guys can get on there and jump on the premiere. We'll be in the chat. So we'll be there hanging out. You'll be able to talk to us in the chat as the documentary's premiering, all that fun stuff. So please come watch it. Please subscribe. We're so close. We're only like 115 people away from being able to actually have some financials come in from YouTube. So we're right there. So we're super excited for this first documentary. But yeah, I think I said everything for that one. Voicemail system. If you guys want to leave a voicemail or your encounters or anything like that, please use the link below. It's speaker pipe. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So this Wednesday, you'll also hear the first one of those with Ross's encounter. It's going to be it's really amazing. So hopefully it'll encourage some of you guys to use that. The P.O. Box. Jay?
P.O. Box number 75, Ada, Ohio 45810. If you wish to send us any fan art or a letter, a tuft of hair, anything you'd like to send us, that's where you can send it. That's P.O. Box 75.
Do not encourage them to send body parts.
Just tufts of hair. Didn't say human hair.
Okay.
Anything you wish, I'm just being creative.
Okay. All right. Yes, please. So what was one more time, what was the address?
P.O. Box number 75, Ada, Ohio 45810.
There we go. Merch. So our new summer edition shirts are out there on the website. It's the Arctic centipede, or the Arctic centipede, the Arctic ice crab spider
There you
chasing me and Jay in an ice tunnel. And then there's the giant oceanic crocodile with shoebill storks flying around as it fights the orca with a sailing ship.
Right.
It's just craziness. We love it. But they're only going to be available to like the end of September. Then they'll be pulled off the website. So if you want those, get in on them. We're going to try to do seasonal shirts and seasonal hoodies and all that kind of stuff for you guys. So there you go. Conferences coming up. We have Squonkapalooza, and that is August 26th. But it's a whole weekend affair. I know the 25th they're having the Ghost Walk.
It's going to be really fun.
What town is that?
Gosh, James?
Johnstown.
I say it wrong every time.
But the thing is, you try to convince me that I'm wrong.
I just try to convince you that you weren't right.
Yes, that's what I said.
I know.
Then after that is the Hocking Hills Conference.
Gonna be a ball.
Yeah, we're speakers at that one. Well,
Yep.
I'm a speaker at that one. Jay gets to sit that one out.
Good. Phew.
But he has to ask questions in the audience.
I'll do that.
But we're also going to be at Mothman. We're not vendors or anything like that, but we're going to be running around with a crew. We're going to do a hike through the TNT plant. We're going to show you guys some historic sites like where Tiny's Diner was and stuff like that. So we're just going to do that with our own listeners and Patreon members and stuff like that. So if you want in on that, please let me know. Email me, PM me or whatever. And then our event in October, the first weekend in October, it's 40 in Airwaves. You can get your tickets below. It's an all-weekend event with all your favorite podcasts. Who is there, Jay?
It would be us, Cryptids of the Corn, Uncomfortable Podcast, Kill the Mockingbirds Podcast, The Bump Podcast, and Hollow Sky Podcast. I always want to make sure.
And
oh yeah, I missed one. AI, artificial intelligence. I forgot. there was
Appalachian Intelligence.
Sorry, AI, Appalachian
Yes,
Intelligence.
I do it too.
Yeah, I know. It's just AI.
And then we'll be wrapping up the year with Crypticon, as always.
Yep.
Crypticon will probably be always our last one of the year.
So
If you're coming to any of those events, let us know. We love to.
We'd love to meet you guys, especially the 40 in Airways events. It's going to be a ball. I mean, you get personal time with all of us, really, and we're really looking forward to that, having fun with all you guys.
It is a cash bar.
Yes. So you can get, if you want to get sauced with your favorite podcasters, that's probably going to be your best opportunity to do it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll even show you the new studio if it's ready by then.
Perhaps.
That's all on Jay.
Yes, perhaps.
If you're trying to contact us, email is the best way, and that's cryptidsofthecornpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah. So you ready for our new reviews?
Yeah, let's hear them.
Okay. Let me get ready. And we have the first two are from Canada. So these are all Apple. New favorite podcast is the title. This is by far my new favorite podcast. I love the scientific approach and all the genuinely new ideas these dudes are hypothesizing. There's a lot of paranormal pods out there, and they're just mostly regurgitating the same old stories, UFOs, yada, yada. But these guys look way outside the box in the best ways possible. It's a Freudian brain workout, and I've always dreamt of. Fungal UFOs, walking trees, the bloop, wormholes. I'm always excited to hear these masters of the metaphysical, these princes of the paranormal, these sorcerers of science. Wow. Captivating, entertaining, and thought-provoking. I am perpetually excited for the next episode. Can't wait to hear season 4 begins.
Wow. Who wrote that?
And that was from Yukon Jana.
Thank you, Yukon Jana. Hopefully we're saying that right.
Yukon. Oh, I know Yukon.
That might be our most thoughtful review I think we've got today.
There you go. And then the next one is lifelong Canadian fans. We have 2 Canadians back to back.
Wow.
Love the banner and very informative. Always a good time delving into the possible theories. Listen to new episodes while driving on the road for FedEx. Love you, Dalton. Well, thank you, Dalton.
Thanks, Dalton. It's always good to get a good old review up from above the border. That's
Minnesota, isn't it? Or Wisconsin?
It's close. I mean, okay, I forgot to add it. Oh, it's good to get a review from above the border there, eh?
Yeah, don't you know is Wisconsin.
Yeah. So if you guys ever, take a visit down on this side and you want to tilt them back with us, feel free, just thanks for the reviews and keep them coming. Hey.
Okay. Last one is Love the Show is the title. Honestly, one of the best paranormal podcasts or one of the best shows in the paranormal genre. Hands down, best cryptid-based show I've ever heard. Keep up the great work. From Rich.
Thank you, Rich. That's some high praise.
I know. And we won't rename it, but we had a bad one right in the middle of all those. So that's always funny when you see like sandwiched between like all these great, and then somebody's just like, blah.
Leaves a comment that makes no sense.
It's like, okay, I don't know if you listen to the show.
Yeah.
But okay. New Patreon members. Grim Creeper. Thank you, Grim Creeper.
Welcome.
Is it Peyton?
Yeah, Peyton.
Peyton Colegrove. Welcome, Peyton.
Welcome, Peyton.
And Keith Colley.
And welcome, Keith. Welcome to the Corn Cult.
Welcome to the Corn Cult. All right, now you ready for this?
Yeah, is that all the front of house stuff? Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into this episode.
Megalodon.
We've been waiting on this one for a minute.
So we're going to explain something real quick because I've heard this. A lot of problems. There's a lot of problems with Megalodon, as in the community of cryptozoology dealing with Megalodon.
Okay.
There is not one species of Megalodon.
Oh.
There's actually 4-ish.
Oh.
And that's a big point of contingency.
Okay.
So they're all, now I'm going to try, Carcocoleus. Carcocoleus is the first part of their scientific name.
Okay.
And so when you ever hear me say C dot and then another name, it's Carcocoleus.
Gotcha.
So C Armoricalis, C Argentinidius, C Chernadius, and C Megalodon.
Okay.
Technically, they're all Megalodon species. So when we talk about mosasaurs, the ancient marine reptiles, there's mosasaur, which is the species, and there's mosasaur, which is the family group.
Okay.
So Megalodon is both.
It's like the family group.
So yeah, it's C Megalodon is the one we're going to talk about. It's the big guy, or also Otodus Megalodon is now the subspecies that is the mega-sized sharks. A lot of those other guys were like great white sharks are a little bigger size-wise.
Well, what makes something a megalodon then? Like,
it's family group, the Otodus.
So it just has to be within that. But is there like something that makes that special, that makes them distinct?
Oh yeah, so they're very distinct organisms, but there's a big size range in that group.
Okay.
So when people say Megalodon got 65 feet, no, Otodus Megalodon got 65
Some of them,
feet.
yeah. Okay.
Not, a lot of these guys were like medium-sized predators during their time, which would be apex-sized predators now.
So, and these are all this is known through fossil records.
Yes, and they don't fossilize very well. So sharks don't have a lot of bones.
Right, they're mostly cartilage, right?
So they're cartilagenic fish. That's why they get so big.
And it's just their jaws and teeth that are on bones,
it's mostly
right?
teeth.
Okay.
And it's mostly teeth. The jaws are mostly all reconstructed. There's not
really?
There's not like a whole lot of jaws out there that are full pieces.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So we'll get to that and like how we kind of estimate their sizes and why there's such a big range in estimating.
Based off their teeth.
Yeah.
Right.
So did they have, okay, so like kind of the rule is, did they follow the tooth measurements of their closer cousins like great white sharks? Mm-hmm. So we can extrapolate, we know X great white shark has X size of these type of teeth.
Right.
Vice versa. Or did they just have supersized teeth for their body size?
Yeah, what if
or did they have really small teeth for their body size?
Oh, could it be even bigger? Wouldn't it just be funny if like, all right, let's turn back. Well, I don't know. We had the technology to turn back time, or that viewing glass they got in the Vatican thing. They grab it. You touch a tooth and you can go back in time and like to where that animal was, and it goes back and it's like a 4-foot long shark with like 2 giant buck teeth that are like the big shark teeth. That's what we found.
Actually a meme on one of the fish pages.
Really?
Where it shows like a fish with just giant lips.
Yeah.
So it's like this like normal sized fish with like
just huge
lips.
Yeah. Man, like a red carp sucker.
Yeah. Sure. I don't know what the heck you just said to me.
Oh, I thought that was one of those fish you caught.
River red horse.
River red. I knew red was in it.
Carp suckers are a different group of fish.
I knew red was in it, so I just guessed. Mm-hmm. That was pretty good.
So Otodus Megalodon or Ododus Megalodon.
Okay.
Its name literally means big tooth. Is an extinct species of mackerel shark, which we'll get to that. That's kind of not true-ish. There's a lot of arguing with extinct species.
Right, yeah.
Or maybe extinct species.
Right.
It lived from approximately 23 million years ago to 3.6 million years ago when it went extinct. So it went extinct a while ago. Some estimates put it all the way back to, or only went extinct 2.4 million years ago. Some even put it really recently. We'll get to there. From the early Miocene to the Pliocene epoch. They were formerly thought to be a member of the family Alambiidae, which is their closest living relatives as great white sharks. However, they're now classified in an extinct family Otodontidae, they split from great white sharks during the early. Oh gosh, now I'm all messed up. They split from sharks during the Cretaceous period.
Okay.
So a long time ago, they split from great white sharks a long time ago.
Translation: a long time ago.
When regards to one of the most large and powerful predators to ever live, the Megalodon is only a fragment of, or only has fragmented remains. It appears that in maximum size are very uncertain. Scientists differ on whether or not they were closely resembled the stockier version of a great white shark. So I kind of think we're going to go, these guys, we don't know what they look like.
Yeah, it's all speculation.
Yes. So we have very fragmented remains. They had big teeth, but like we just said, were they supersized and their teeth were actually really small for their size? Were they really big for their size?
Are the only remains we have teeth?
Pretty much in some jaws.
I thought so.
It's just chunks of jaw.
Right, yeah.
So we don't know if they, all the reconstructions you see are based off a great white shark.
Yeah.
Which is a fair estimate. I mean.
Right, I mean.
But when we do have Megalodon or teeth embedded in ancient whale vertebra.
Okay, that's pretty crazy.
So we do have that. Like we know that at least at one point there was some kind of fight, whether it was predator and prey or whatever. We'll get there. So did they look like a stockier version of a great white shark? A lot of biologists are arguing that they actually looked more like a whale shark or a basking shark. These giant, supersized gliders, basically.
Yeah.
These oceanic kites.
But would they have such big, sharp teeth, though?
So that could be, like some species, it could be still a feature that hasn't evolved out yet.
Okay.
So there was an ancient species long time ago called eagle sharks.
Ooh, that
which had
cool.
gigantic fins and still had sharp teeth, but they were like giant filter feeders.
Eagle sharks? Mm-hmm. It just sounds amazing.
They had giant, like their fins look like wings.
Yeah, like a manta ray?
Yeah, like kind of that. So were they like that? Where they were actually these giant ocean current gliders taking advantage of large schools of fish and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
Not, still probably preying upon food when they could, like big fish. And some even would put them more like sand tiger sharks.
Which is a lot different.
Yeah, very thin fish eater.
Aggressive, probably.
No, I mean, they're not tiger sharks. Sand tigers are very different than tiger sharks.
Oh, okay.
Whole different animal.
Oh, well, shoot.
Just similar names.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of this argument. So the most recent estimates for the latest error range suggest a maximum length of 67 feet, and a model length estimates about 34 feet.
Okay.
So that's kind of where they're saying that most of these guys were at 34 to 35 feet long with a maximum size of 67 feet. But that is a range.
Right.
And then we don't know.
Quite
Exportation of the vertebral centra with dimensional base of the great white shark, for example, suggests the Megalodon is 52 feet length and weighing up to 48 metric tons, or 53 short tons, with a maximum of 17 meters, 56 feet long, and weighing 59 metric tons, 65 short tons, and a super maximum length of 23 meters, 67 feet, weighing 103 metric tons, or 114 short tons. But that's just that estimate. So it's just, there's a lot of ranges.
Right.
Talking about this animal.
Gosh.
Megalodon, no matter what, was probably a major impacting structure on its marine communities. Fossil records indicate from coprolite distributions that they were everywhere. So that's their poop fossils.
Okay.
They probably targeted very large prey such as whales, seals, and sea turtles. Keep in mind, at the time we're talking about, sea turtles were the size of small buses, whales were everywhere, and seals were quite large themselves.
Yeah.
Juveniles inhabited warm coastal waters and fed on fish and small whales. So there's a whole bunch of small baleen whales that are now not around.
Because of these guys?
No, that went extinct during the end of the last ice age.
Okay.
But there was tons and tons of small coastal species of whale. We still have a couple around today of pygmy, like some pygmy whales.
Or pilot, not
no,
pilot
they're
whales,
baleen whales.
Baleen
These
whales.
whales with hair in their mouth that filter feed.
Oh, okay.
They're still like the supersized guys. They're
Yeah.
actually small. There's a couple of subspecies that are really small guys. There's just not many of them left. So unlike giant great white sharks today, which attack prey for their soft underbelly, Megalodon probably use its strong jaws to break through the chest cavity and puncture the heart and lungs of its prey. So they had much stronger jaws and bite forces and stuff like that. Their teeth are actually fossilized still extremely sharp. Animals faced off a lot of competition. Megalodon was not the only game in town.
Right.
You see a lot of the documentaries portrayed as, this
Big
apex.
monster predator.
Megalodon had competition and predators.
Gotcha.
So the first one I'm going to talk about is Leviathan. Leviathan we've talked about in some episodes before.
Yeah.
Which is a supersized. It's not even that much bigger than modern day sperm whales, but it had gigantic teeth. It actually had the largest teeth of any organism ever.
And it was a shark?
A sperm whale.
Oh, it was a sperm whale?
A supersized sperm whale.
Okay.
And Leviathan specialized in eating large cetaceans like whales and megalodons. So that was its primary food groups. It actually had a resonating chamber in its skull that it used, what we think it used to stun young megalodons for consumption.
Just like freeze them, basically?
Yeah, it would basically, even some suggest it could have liquefied internal organs.
Oh, okay.
And there was other macrosaurial sperm whales in the area, which is a smaller, which is kind of smaller than Leviathan, but still aggressive feeders.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the sperm whale we have now is soft-bodied specialists. That's why they don't have top teeth. They only have under teeth that kind of hook their prey into their mouth.
And to hold them in place. Gotcha.
There was also the ancestral killer whales, which were evolving at the time, which were decimating the scene as well.
Those are orcas, right? Okay.
As the shark prefers warmer waters, it is thought that the ocean cooling associated with the onset of the Ice Age, coupled with lower sea levels and resulting loss of suitable nursery areas, may have contributed to their decline. The reduction in this diversity of baleen whales and the shift of distribution towards polar regions may have also reduced megalodon food populations. The shark's extinction concludes with the gigantism trend in baleen whales. So I'm going to re-talk about that subject for just a second.
Okay.
So basically, whales started, when the ocean started cooling off, whales started preferring the polar climates for rearing and birth and stuff like that. Megalodon was a warm tropical animal. As far as we can tell, that's where most of its remains were found in warm tropical waters, especially the juveniles. So all these small baleen whales started going extinct during the end of the last ice age.
The ones that were hanging around the tropical areas. Gotcha.
So the juvenile megalodons did not have food. The food in the tropical areas, it had a lot of competition for the adults. And then the other animals that was competing with were also preying upon it.
Gotcha. From the megalodon. Okay.
So the juvenile habitat was gone. The nursery areas were gone. The adult food source was pretty much vanishing. And the predators it was competing with were starting to eat it and run out of food. So there was a lot of nails in the coffin for Megalodon.
Gotcha.
So he was the bottom of the totem pole of those three major groups of predators in the oceans at the time.
It's kind of funny you don't really think of it in those terms at all when you think
same
Megalodon.
with great white sharks today. Great white sharks are going extinct because of orca competition.
And they're getting super aggressive, it appears, right now.
Yeah, orcas.
Yeah.
Not great whites.
No,
great whites
orcas.
are abandoning whole continents.
Yeah, because of orcas. That's crazy. It's
So yeah, what
frightening.
do you think so far?
Well, so far, I mean, I didn't know there was other types of megalodons. I thought it was just, like you said, one.
Ototus is the one everybody talks about as the big guy.
Yeah, I just thought it was just that one, I guess. It's just megalodon. Oh,
Whole
it's,
family group.
yeah, didn't know that. No idea. But I mean, so far everything's pretty informative and good. But what was I just gonna say? I had a thought in my head. But it's putting it in the terms of like one, there's multiple different kinds. Didn't no idea. Bottom of the totem pole. Didn't really even think of it that way.
I mean, we're talking about animals that are 60 feet plus.
Yeah, which
it's
is
the bottom of the totem pole of that group.
craziness. I mean, so if we think the world's crazy now, like just I'm trying to imagine
Because
living back
Leviathan,
then.
as far as we know from the fossil record, went extinct much later than Megalodon.
Man, we're just so soft now, like as a species today. We would, our ancestors, I mean, how you feel about human being history, if they were alive during then, these were some hardy.
Don't go swimming.
They were some. If they did,
Can
they're
you imagine
pretty
seeing a
danked
shark the
up
size of a submarine just kind of cruising past?
and just checking you out. Yeah, screw that.
Probably wouldn't even recognize you as food.
No, probably not.
I've seen great whites like kind of like try to nip at like birds on the surface, but not really like
Just seeing what it
just
was.
kind of like bumping them just to screw with them.
Yeah.
They get bored. Their sharks are smarter
Yeah.
than people give them credit for. Now we're going to talk about Lazarus taxa. So I kind of, that last little segment I left on was explaining why Megalodon may not be around anymore. Let's talk about some reasons it could still be around.
Okay.
So have you ever heard me say the word Lazarus taxa?
Lazarus taxa.
Mm-hmm.
I know what Lazarus, but no.
What's Lazarus?
It's a mall. Is around the 90s.
No, so this is animals that went extinct that still lived into today, as far as we know from the fossil record.
Like coelacanth.
That's That's one of the guys on here, or that we know from partial remains or stuff like that. We don't have bodies of.
Gotcha.
So my first one is megamouth sharks.
Yes. Okay. I know what these are.
The incredible megamouth shark is another sea creature that can grow to enormous sizes, but was not discovered until 1976. This species eluded researchers for such a long time because it lives in very deep water and only comes close to the surface at night.
Mm-hmm.
So this is this animal it's like another word for almost cryptid.
Yeah.
But the coelacanth is another example of Lazarus taxa. So the coelacanth is a very strange case. This bizarre fish was thought to go extinct 65 million years ago.
That's so crazy.
At the end of the dinosaurs. Until they were discovered in 1938, alive and well off the coast of South Africa. The coelacanth is a very prehistoric fish referred to as a living fossil. While they're not giants like Megalodon or the giant squid or the megamouth shark, they can reach well over 6 foot long.
They're big fish.
But we actually have discovered 6 different colonies and 3 different species of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they kind of look like they live in areas. They're a colony fish. They're very unique.
I've seen one before, not in the wild, but in a zoo.
Yeah. Coelacanths are cool.
They are very cool. I wonder if they taste good.
They were eating them off of Madagascar for a long time.
Really?
Giant squids, I don't know if they were exactly tasty, but they were large
Oh,
and
yeah.
edible. They weren't poisonous, you know.
Right, yeah.
The giant squid is a huge creature reaching up to 30 feet in length. Now we actually know they reach up to 45 feet in length. Dwelling in the deepest parts of the ocean, thought to science, the existence of bodies washed up ashore, scars left in the body of whales. No live adults were caught on film until 2004.
That's crazy.
Now we know much more about these creatures and even larger monster squids out there,
That's awesome.
like the colossal squid.
Is that next on your...
The colossal squid is an enormous real-life sea monster with the largest specimen weighing well over 1.5 tons. Even though it was discovered in 1925, technically, we still know very little about these beasts. Colossal and giant squid sightings from ancient sailors probably led to the legends of the kraken-like sea monsters from around the world. So the actual first one wasn't recorded until 2014.
Wow, that's crazy too.
So they had a body of one that they were like, this isn't a giant squid. This is another big species of squid. And then they caught one.
So they knew it was different?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They just, so that's kind of where I said kind of 1925.
Yeah.
But not really until over almost 100 years later.
After, yeah. It's crazy.
So keep in mind, that's an animal that's 65 feet long. So the only difference between colossal squids and giant squids is colossal squids prefer Arctic waters.
Okay.
So their habitats are very hard to study. Not saying they can't show up in any ocean, but they prefer cold as far as we can tell. Now let's talk about the extinction date. This is a big point of contention with the Megalodon. Once again, fossilized teeth is all we have.
Okay.
And bone and jaw fragments. You know, it's a carcinogenic fish. There's not a lot to fossilize.
Yeah.
So the youngest extinction date that most scientists agree on is 2.6 million years ago. But a lot of other people put it all the way back to 3.5 million years ago.
It's quite a distance.
But they formed about 20 million years ago.
Before trees?
No.
Oh.
Sharks as a whole did.
I know, but not these guys.
Not these guys. Because
Okay.
these guys, Megalodon specifically evolved, like I said earlier, with the size ramp up of baleen whales.
Okay.
So it was like an arms race.
Who filled that niche first? The big guy in
Whales
the
started
water's
getting
niche.
bigger.
Yeah.
Sharks started getting bigger. Whales started getting bigger. Sharks started getting bigger.
Yeah.
So on. And it just until Leviathan and orcas came in.
Oh, gotcha. They were all competing for that same niche. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to get into encounters. Why I put the extinction date first is because this first encounter is probably the best evidence that Megalodon is still alive.
Okay.
In 1875, 2 Megalodon teeth were brought up from the deep sea explorer of the HMS Challenger that supposedly were only 10 to 14,000 years old. During this time, a land bridge between North America and Asia existed that the ancestors of Native Americans were crossing over. If they were testing of this age, or so if tests on the age were a huge teeth were accurate, that means that Megalodon was still alive during the end of the Pleistocene, over 2 million years after it was generally agreed that it went extinct. Although these teeth were confirmed to be looking fresh due to the magnesium dioxide, these teeth may not be proving anything. So it's all about the carbon dating of these teeth. And some people don't even believe. So these teeth are not on public display anymore. So do with it whatever you want with that information.
What?
But some of the original divers and stuff like that said they didn't look like they were fossilized. They looked like they were
Actual teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you can't carbon date a fossil.
Yes, you can.
You can?
Kind of.
You're just carbon dating the material that filled in
Yes.
the fossil, but that's not really
So
accurate.
it gives you like a 2 million. So we're talking about, stuff that's, 20 million years ago.
Right.
So a 2 million window
I guess it's not
is not that big.
Yeah.
It matters what time scale you're talking.
Right. It's all relative.
Yeah. So that's kind of, that one is really good evidence, and it disappeared and all that stuff. But plenty of people seen the teeth. A lot of people said they thought they were not fossilized.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting.
But Megalodon teeth are shark teeth in general are very hard to judge fossilized because a lot of sharks are still extremely sharp and they look extremely fresh. Due to the outer enamel coating actually produces a really strong fossil edge.
Right, yeah.
Like some bones and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
So teeth are kind of hard when you're talking about 1875 and people judging them from the looks.
Right, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Fishermen terrified by giant shark is my next encounter. In 1918, an Australian naturalist named David Strudd recorded events when local fishermen refused to go back into the water after an unbelievably massive shark demolished their gear and taking their catch. The experience of the men at sea, familiar with whales and large sharks, but whatever they had frightened them so much that they refused to go back to work. According to Steed, they described an animal between 35 and 90 meters long and pure white in color.
Oh, wait, hold on a minute.
Yeah, I'll get back. Give me a second. These proportions seem unbelievable. Could sharks really grow to this size? Were these men exaggerating, or were they confused? 35 to 90 meters is a hell of a range.
That's all I was going to say. It's humongous. And 90 meters, that's like almost like the
300
length of
feet.
Is it? Yeah. Well, roughly, yeah. Yeah, so it's about the length of a football field.
It's a football field.
Yeah, good
10
Lord.
meters shy of a football field.
It's like, it's either
100 feet long
or
it's a
300
football field.
feet long, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll actually come back to that one here in a second.
What's funny, though, is that, it would be very frightening. But, the whole time, those fishermen, they've probably been fishermen, like, mostly their whole lives or something. That thing's been there the whole time you were fishing before. And now, just because you've seen it, now you're not going to go out in the water ever again?
Well, if these things are real, they may not be local. Like, they don't hang out in areas.
Right, yeah.
So it may have never been there before till this one time it just wanted to eat all these crab pots.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, obviously you laid eyes on it. You know this stuff's in the water. Just because you didn't know before doesn't make it any more or less dangerous at the moment. You're just now aware of it.
So Max Hawthorne, he did a big article about this encounter, and he gives us a little more information. In 1918, a group of lobster fishermen, they were running pots on a line at a Port Stephenson's, Australia, experienced a sighting, and it concludes with an extremely large shark, the largest shark actually ever on record. They describe this thing as being ghostly white in color, measuring from anywhere from 115 feet to 300 feet in length. This particular historic sighting is arguably one of the strongest pieces of anecdotal evidence of the existence of an extinct population, or proportionally extinct population of mackerel sharks, the Megalodon. So was Megalodon spotted? So this is the actual account. I have it. He has it paraphrased for us. In the year of 1918, I recorded the sensation that had been caused among the outside cray men of Port Stephenson, so cray fishermen. When for several days they refused to go back to sea to do their regular fishing grounds in the vicinity of Broughton Islands. The men had been on work on fishing grounds which lay in the deep waters, when an immense shark, almost unbelievable proportions, put in the appearance, lifting pots after pot, consuming many of the crayfish within them, the men said. Pots, moray lines, and all were taken. These crayfish pots, as it was mentioned, were about 3.5 feet diameter, and the frequency continued for about 2 to 3 dozen good-sized crayfish in each, weighing several pounds. The men were all unamused by the shark and something like this, which had never been dreamed of. The company in which the local fisherman or fisheries inspector and I questioned, many of these men were very closely all agreed the same gigantic structured beast. When the lengths they were given wears, on the whole, absurd. I mentioned that, however, the incident was a state of mind in which the unusual giant had thrown them in. They bear in mind that these men, who were used to the sea, of all sorts of weather and all sorts of sharks as well. One of the crew said the shark was 300 feet long at least.
At least.
The other said it was as long as the wharf that they stood on, 115 feet. They averred that the water boiled over a large space when the fish swam past. When they were all familiar with whales, they all had seen passengers in the sea and the vast sharks. They had such a terrible head that they said, at least as long as the roof of the wharf in Nelson Bay. Impossible, of course. But with this prosaic and rather soiled men, not given the fish stories, nor of taking or not, or nor even them taking about their catches. Further, they knew the person that we're talking to myself was a fishery stories for years. One of the things that impressed me with all these agreed the ghostly white of this fish.
Mm-hmm.
The local fisheries inspector at the time, Mr. Parton, agreed that it must have been something gigantic that experienced men into the state of fear and panic. Obviously, a shark reaching 300 feet in proportions is preposterous, and it would grip fear. And maybe a few beers later, an unknown creature likely grew within conference of the imagination of these guys. So we're gonna get back. We'll bring Max up again later with the rest of this article.
Okay,
but we'll finish these stories. Massive shark threatens 55-foot fishing boat. In the 1960s, the captain of a 55-foot-long fishing boat reported a white shark, at least as long as the boat passing while he sat an anchor. The crew refused to go discuss the sighting, but the captain gave his account. The experienced sailor said the captain, would have been able to recognize a whale if it had been there. But he claimed it is indeed a gigantic shark. The stories are based on real encounters, or they just produced imaginations of these sailors from long ago. In this account, he said that the actual shark was slapping its tail against the boat, maybe not on purpose, maybe on purpose. And he was worried about it cracking the hull. It's hitting so hard.
Yeah, especially if it's as big as the boat. I mean, man, anyone that's dealt with just fish in general, like they're very strong animals.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Especially the bigger they get.
Oh, yeah. So cracking a boat is not out of the even question if it's flipping its tail at you.
So here's one of my second to last one. Massive 50-foot Megalodon detected by Atlantic Ocean stunned scientist. So this is a sonar image, a famous sonar image of what may be a Megalodon. Researchers were flabbergasted after picking up what appeared to be a massive 50-foot-long shark on sea scanners underneath their boat. An Instagram post detailed, allegedly, the discovery is currently making waves, and this is back in, I don't have a year here. On the recent shark research trip, we were all amused to see the shape appear on our fish radar for several minutes. Researchers within the Atlantic Shark Institution wrote regarding the sinister shape detected in their undisclosed waters. So basically, they're on a shark survey, and it was the Atlantic Shark Institute.
Okay.
This creature is about 55 feet long. It looks like it has a dorsal fin. It looks like an outline of a shark.
Yeah. And it was caught in their sonar?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So based on the length of the image, an estimated of the Meg was about 50 feet long and weighing about 40 tons, the researchers estimated.
It's pretty big.
So basically, they go back and forth, and it was for 7 minutes. They were like, this thing was passing underneath their boat.
Basically following them.
They were following it.
Oh, they were following it. Okay.
So a bunch of them, then they stated that it was actually a big school of fish that just happened to be taking a funky shape.
In that shape.
I'm not sure myself.
It's hard telling with
sonar
images.
The core looks solid.
Yeah, okay.
So you kind of look for gaps and weird shapes and lines and stuff like that if it's a school of fish.
Right.
It kept a pretty solid shape most of the time.
It's hard to tell though with sonar. Because I mean, we just recently was in the news. They seen that, was it the Champ sonar image? Yeah. And it does. It looks, but like you said, there's gaps in that one, so it speculates. But still, the shape appears to be some sort of like plesiosaur type looking thing.
Yeah, to me, the Champ one looked like a group of sturgeons.
Yeah, but that's just the thing. Anything with sonar, it's hard to really tell or get a distinct thing unless
100%.
Unless you're down there looking at it too to confirm it.
So there's a bunch of space photos that circulate.
No.
The one that's going on Instagram right now when I was recording this is from one of the movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Not shocked.
And they're acting like it's real.
Yep.
All the Google Earth ones that I could find are fake.
Okay.
Not saying there's not maybe a real picture of a gigantic shark
have you
on
seen
Google Earth.
Have you seen the one of the big video? It's the video of the big shark they caught swimming through the water, but it was just from a movie. It was footage from a movie set. I forget what the movie was.
You sure it wasn't the mosasaur from Jurassic Park? Because that spread around too.
There's that one too. No, this one was
off an oil rig.
Yeah, where it's underwater. This one, it's on the surface. It was spreading, and I saw it, and I'm like, holy crap! Like this is something. and it was from some movie. It was just B footage from a movie, like on set. It's a big robot. They did the same thing with the giant alligator from Lake Placid. People spread that.
Yes, all the time. And there's divers swimming around it. I'm like,
Yeah, people spread that around too. Same difference, same deal.
So let's get into possibilities.
Okay.
Or is there anything you have questions about before we move on?
Not really any questions up to this point yet.
So what could people be seeing? So I 100% believe, before we move on, that supersized sharks are being seen in the world.
I agree.
100%.
I agree.
But our first possibility is mistaken ID.
Okay.
These could be whale sharks, basking sharks, megamouth sharks, and other species.
I was going to say that
so
earlier.
There's a famous one, and I'm not including the links, but you guys can look it up because I won't remember. I'm just going to be honest with you, all you listeners. I won't remember. But
happens.
there's the cruise ship Megalodon. If you just type in cruise ship Megalodon on YouTube, it's a basking shark.
Yep.
It's 100% a big basking shark.
And basking sharks are rare. Like
They're oceanic. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
big.
oceanic fish. So they're not like rare, but the ocean is massive.
They're rare to see.
You got to go looking for them.
Yes, they're very rare to see.
And there's several whale shark ones and stuff like that. And so let's talk about these guys. So whale sharks grow up to 65 feet in length,
So big.
with one estimate of some remnants of one being 80 feet long,
It's a big
making
boy.
them the biggest fish to ever exist.
Just ever in general.
Yeah, bigger than Lead 60s, which is a Jurassic fish.
Mm-hmm.
So if that remains are accurate,
Yeah.
and there's
yeah.
some biologists that think they can actually get to be 100 feet long. They don't get that long anymore due to commercial fishing. Like we just talked about, that maybe we didn't talk about, or no, it's coming out on a Freaky Fauna, but there was a diver that just ran into 14 whale sharks caught in nets, abandoned fishing gear, with millions of fish, dozens of dolphins, and a couple small whales, and 14 of these massive whale sharks. But these divers they were in danger, but they actually cut a big gigantic hole and let all these whale sharks out.
Nice.
And if you guys can look at the video, but these whale sharks, the second the tension was free,
Yeah.
they came piling out of there.
Good.
And they drug everything out with them.
Yeah.
So almost all the animals got out. Like,
good,
whether
okay.
by force or not.
Yeah.
Because when these whale sharks start moving, there ain't a whole lot that's not going with them.
Yeah. That's.
The abandoned fishing gear is one of the number one killers of giant marine species.
I just listened to a story about a guy was diving and it was like a little baby dolphin or a smaller dolphin came up and was like pestering him.
Like
and it
trying
kept-
to lead him back to his mom.
And yeah, he didn't know what was going on. So then he would swim away and come back and swim away and come back. And he thought it was wanting to follow it. He followed it. And sure enough, he followed it down. Its mom was stuck in a net. And he said probably for a bit of time, like she was panicking, like she was getting ready to drown. He cut her out, freed her. She immediately went up and then she came back and like basically like she was hanging around him, like thanking him what it would look like. And then they both just swam off together.
So everybody can argue with me at home. The next guy on this list is literally great white sharks.
Okay.
Average great white shark's like 16 to 18 feet in length, and that's a big adult. Deep blue is 23 feet in length. So for a long time, scientists said no, great whites max out at 21 feet or 20 feet. Then it was 21 feet. Then it was 22 feet. Now it's 23 feet. We think great blue, or they think great blue is the biggest great white sharks can truly get.
Does he have one of them trackers on him?
She,
Yeah,
deep blue does,
Okay.
and she's famous for divers swimming with her.
Oh,
Famous
that's right. Yeah,
with big groups, and people always like, as long as you're respectful of them. Like great white sharks don't normally view people as food,
I would never swim with one.
especially deep blue.
I'd never.
But I'll tell you the story of a Hawaiian couple, kayakers,
Okay.
that saved a young juvenile male great white shark about 13 feet in length. He was caught up in fishing gear, and everybody can argue with me on this story. It's whatever. I think it's real. So anyways, there's videos of this, like them first saving the shark. Caught up. It show great white sharks are pump breathers. They need to be moving to breathe.
Right.
Not all these guys in this list need to, but these guys need to. So they cut them out at great danger to themselves.
Right.
Keep in mind, 1,000-pound animal with teeth.
Just turn around and eat you.
So they cut it out, and it drops like a rock, and that's probably the only reason it lived, is it dropped so hard
Yeah.
that it caught a breath,
Yeah.
and it picked back up, and then it starts circling them. And they're like, well, a couple was talking like, yeah, we knew this was a possibility. This thing's a predator.
Yeah.
And it started circling them, and then left.
Wow. That's probably regaining its composure.
It was just It was looking at him.
Yeah.
It was just hardcore staring at him.
Yeah.
And it left. And then you can look it up, and it comes back every season, and it follows these guys for about 2 to 3 weeks. And it follows them. They go in their morning kayak, and it just swims with them. They fully believe it recognizes them, and it knows them. It's never bit at their kayaks. It just follows them, hangs out. And there's pictures of it. There's videos of it.
That's pretty awesome.
And they know it's the same male because there's this giant scar on its tail fin where it got caught.
That's awesome.
Sharks are a lot smarter than people give credit for.
Right. Well, they've been around forever.
The next guy on this list is basking sharks, like we've already said.
Right. Yeah.
People, all kinds of videos are like, look at this megalodon. It's a basking shark. You know why a lot of people probably don't think whale sharks are basking sharks? Or whale sharks are megalodons? Because they're blue or black or purple with white polka dots.
Right. They know it's not that.
Basking sharks are brown.
They
look like big sharks.
Yeah, they do. They look like big, scary sharks. But aren't they filter feeders?
They are, but they're much more close related to other carnivorous sharks.
Right.
So whale sharks have had a lot longer time to look more different.
Yeah, they look completely different.
Basking sharks are very much closely.
They look like the normal shark. They just have a giant mouth.
They still got teeth.
They still got teeth?
They just don't have big teeth.
Oh, they don't have teeth. Okay.
Like megalodon,
That
depending on your size.
Has teeth.
But if you're humongous,
yeah,
they may still be small.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Like those teeth might be small, like those giant teeth, or they might just be small
and evolving out.
Like we said at the top of the show.
So they max it at 50 feet. And they're, like you said, they're
basking. Yeah,
so they're much like people like Scotland and Northern Atlantic and Northern Pacific. Like people know what basking sharks look like. They're very rare in the tropics, though.
Okay.
So, like, there was the one that was seen by that cruise ship was in the tropics, which is a rare visitor.
Gotcha. Okay.
There was one off the Californian coast some guy got to swim with. It was extremely rare. He thought he was going to get eaten by the biggest great white he's ever seen.
And it was a basking shark.
It was a basking shark.
What a pleasant surprise that would be.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, they go because it's following him. He thought it was following him. It was actually just feeding on the surface.
Right, yeah.
It just happened to be going the same place.
Yeah.
Megamouth sharks, we don't know a lot about them. We have very few carcasses, but we kind of estimate their larger size is 30 feet.
Okay.
So a very rare shark that has a very weird look that could be explaining, if you happen to be lucky enough to see it.
Yeah.
Now, here's a fun one. Here's one I have a theory about. The Greenland shark.
Oh, I was going to say him.
Is 30 feet long.
Yeah.
But there's a twist. In early 2000s in Japan, off a feeding station, there was 100%, and you can look up Megalodon feeding off bottom of the ocean.
I've seen this video. I know exactly.
It was 100% a Greenland shark.
Yeah.
Everything about it's a Greenland shark. Mm-hmm. But if the feeding platform the Japanese government claimed was 6 foot across, this creature would be 65 feet long. So are Greenland sharks actually getting massive? And every once in a while that we're seeing this 65-foot long predatory toothy shark on the surface, it's a Greenland shark.
I mean, because they are a deep...
So why could they survive and not megalodons? Because they grow very slow.
Yeah.
They don't eat very often. These guys get estimate of a couple centimeters a year sometimes.
Aren't they super deep water sharks too? Okay.
They do come up surface. There's actually evidence that they're feeding on like fresh prey like moose and polar bears. We think they kind of act like crocodiles in the ice sheets.
Holy.
That they hold still for a very long period of time to where these animals forget about them.
Yeah. That is frightening.
So the next one I have, so that's kind of Miss ID is the whole theory.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So my next theory is Megalodon's still alive. Just plain strange. It just, it just is. It happened to survive the odds of going extinct. It's not uncommon for species to do that, to disappear off the fossil record or whatever.
And then still there.
People don't realize how rare fossils are in general.
Right, exactly.
So it's very, very rare circumstances, and we mostly find fossil beds, which means a catastrophe had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So Megalodon could still be alive. What's your thoughts on that? Or first, what's your thoughts on Miss ID? I kind of skipped over
100%,
that.
100%. I mean, we've already witnessed it, like just with the cruise video and the basking shark. 100%. It's still referred to as a megalodon.
Any big shark people see,
megalodon.
It's not a whale shark.
Yeah.
And we'll get back to whale sharks, I promise. Mm-hmm. It's not a whale shark because whale sharks look so distinct with their patterns.
Right. It's the polka dots.
Yeah. We're like,
looks like Dusty
Megalodon.
Roads.
Megalodon.
Yeah,
because it's a super big shark.
Yeah. But so Miss ID 100%, like, well, is happening. Like, sure.
So what about the Megalodon still alive?
I think it's possible because we've said this, I can't say how many times, countless times on the show. The ocean's so big and so unexplored. And we're still discovering stuff modern, like today, about things that we either thought were extinct or things we didn't even know existed. We're still finding stuff literally almost every single day. So to say this thing is extinct for sure, like it's 100% possibility is it's extinct, I don't buy it.
So to me, this is the least likely.
It's probably least likely.
I'm going to say 98% sure that Megalodon is extinct
It's just that little window.
because of nursery habitats. We know a lot about juvenile megalodons, not a lot about the big guys, and competition. The habitat changed, the whales disappeared, the oceans got colder, and the juvenile habitat just was gone, and the juvenile prey was just gone. So Leviathan looks like it survived longer, but still went extinct as well. To me, there's just too many nails in the coffin for this to be the answer.
Yeah.
Megalodon was a hyperpredator of a very specific group of animals that was highly specialized.
But
So highly specialized animals are generally the ones that go extinct first.
what if it is still here? It's just, what's that? What do we call that? When it changes over time or changes, it's not evolution. Convergent. What if it just had some sort of convergent evolution and changed into like some
Why
sort
don't we
of
hold on to that for-
crab?
Oh, crab?
And now it's sitting at the bottom near Point Nemo. It is just
The
waiting.
Megalodon's the bloop.
It's waiting. The bloop is actually a megalodon crab hybrid.
I'm going to say no.
Well, that's a perfect theory.
It is a theory.
A perfect theory.
It is a theory.
It's a very distinct difference.
Time slips.
Okay. Can't rule this out.
Yeah, we've been talking about this more and more regularly, that some Jurassic animals and stuff like that. So what if these are in the ocean? Megalodons were very common in their day, especially juvenile megalodons, and some of the smaller species. Ototus was a little more rare, but still not rare as what we consider today, as an extremely large common shark.
Right. It's not extinct.
So
or extirpated from the ocean.
yeah, so what if we're having these time slips, these portals open up and these sharks are swimming through? So they live for a little bit, and obviously they probably struggle when they get here. The whales are struggling,
Yeah.
so their predators would be struggling even more so.
Different waters.
And Megalodon ate a lot of the 65-foot long whales.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of those anymore.
Gosh.
We have either really tiny guys
Or big.
or monstrous ones because of stuff like Megalodon and Leviathan.
Yeah.
You evolve out of the food chain, like blue whales that basically evolved out of the food chain. They got so big, nothing on Earth could keep up.
That means something is growing and growing to finally eat the blue whales.
Oh, orcas try and they die.
But something.
If a Leviathan or a Megalodon bit a blue whale, it'd probably be the last thing they ever did.
Maybe a megalodon is on its way.
Because keep in mind, we're talking about like the biggest Megalodons were, 50 tons, we estimate.
Right.
Or 100,000 pounds. And the blue whales, over 500,000 pounds.
Right. It's so much bigger. It's so
So it'd be
ridiculous.
like you trying to bite on to a cow just with your teeth.
I think I could do it. Think I could do
Or
it.
with a hammer. I'll even let you try to kill a cow with a hammer.
Hammer? Oh my gosh. That sounds awful.
It's not going to happen.
And you don't know me and my hammer skills.
I see that cow, you running on a cow with a hammer and it just like goring you with a horn. That's what a blue whale would do.
Yeah.
So the time slip thing, that some of these animals, and this I think happens, I do think this may happen, and explain stuff like the Partridge Creek beast and stuff like that. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think I can't rule it out. It's in the water, and water creates all sorts of weird energy properties where
I think if you're still seeing megalodons, true megalodons, this is probably what's happening.
What do you think that one account with that big 100 to 300 foot?
We're going to get back to that here at the very end.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Here's a really fun one I had an idea last night, super late. Gigantic blanket octopus is actually mimicking as a shark like a megalodon. So that's how you can get 100 or 200 foot long shark. Is this gigantic sheet of flesh is mimicking a shark's shadow to scare off predators or potential predators.
Or fishing boats.
Or potential predators.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
So it's mimicking this giant shape, so they all freak out. So if anybody hasn't heard in the show yet, blanket octopus are probably one of the best large-scale mimickers on the planet. The females are.
Pretty impressive.
They get people have actually drowned due to blanket octopus diving, thinking it's a human at deep depths, trying to save a human.
That's so crazy.
They mimic humans, sea turtles, and tiger sharks is their favorite kind of shapes.
That they imitate?
Yeah, dolphins as well. But they like tiger sharks because a lot of their predators are scared of tiger sharks.
Yeah.
So they mimic tiger sharks and they swim like tiger sharks and they have the outline and the silhouette of a tiger shark.
That's so crazy.
So what if this is a gigantic Kraken-sized blanket octopus that is like putting on the giant shark display.
Well, what's the biggest blanket octopus that we know of? How big
I
are
think 16 feet.
they? Okay.
But blanket octopus themselves are incredibly rare animals.
Yeah, it's true too.
And the males are micros. You know, they're tiny.
Okay, so it's
And
got to be the
it's
female.
only the females, at least of the species we have. So what if this is a gigantic blanket octopus putting on 100 or 200 foot display?
That would be quite impressive.
Like, because let's say sperm whales are eating them.
Yeah.
Sperm whales eat cephalopods.
Well, I was thinking too, if there was a blanket octopus that big, what else could it even imitate? It's got to be a big fish.
That it have to so think about it. If sperm whales are eating cephalopods, giant cephalopods,
Yeah.
the only thing sperm whales were probably ever scared of is stuff like the Leviathan and Megalodon.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So
I mean, it's not like this thing can imitate a.
if it's imitating a Megalodon, this
Yeah.
big shark, sperm whales would probably be like, yeah, it ain't worth it.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here.
That's that genetic fear.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
they know that this is the things that used to eat us. So what if that's the whole purpose?
That'd make you. Well, I mean, it would work. It would work. That's
So
for
what do
sure.
you think?
I'm just gonna maybe lean towards this one, probably not being it, but
Jay is muted for the rest of the episode. No, I don't know. I just had the idea that it's some kind of giant mimicry.
I mean, it could be. It very well could be. What if it could be like a water spirit thing mimicking that too, like something like that? You know, another form of mimicry.
Another one I have is whales.
Just
People are seeing whales really deep and not realizing what they're seeing.
misiding, just
You
thinking
keep in
it's
mind,
shark.
we're talking, the biggest blue whale is 110 feet long.
Yeah,
So, and if you're seeing that animal, it's something truly monstrous. And if it's deep and not surfacing, it may, have that kind of shark. 'Cause sharks and dolphins, for example, look very similar. When their fins are out of the water and stuff like that. So what if it's just a big whale?
Could
you
be.
have someone deep under your boat.
yeah,
So sperm whales will eat fish off of lines and stuff like that. And then whales get caught in fishing gear all the time.
yeah.
So this big scary thing in Australia that they said is a giant shark. What if it's just a whale that got hooked up in their gear and just started pulling all their crap out into the ocean?
Yeah, and being all in. Yeah, you can't rule that out either, I guess.
Here's a fun one I had also.
Ooh, fun.
So you remember way back when we talked about the Megalania
Yes.
may actually be the same species as Komodo dragons,
Right.
but having a different large phenotype.
Phenotype. My
when food's
favorite.
available.
Yeah.
What if great white sharks and megalodons are actually the same species?
Well, aren't their teeth very, very similar?
Very similar. So what if they're the same species and they're these different phenotype for food availability? So
Right.
when food availability goes down, more and more offspring are born at this smaller phenotype.
Right. Exactly.
When food availability goes back up, and that's maybe why we're seeing, so the whale populations are starting to bounce back up, dolphin populations start to bounce back up around the world. That's why great white sharks are getting larger than they've ever been.
Like the 23-foot big
Yeah.
blue. Yeah.
So what if this is what's happening? Is they didn't go extinct?
They're still here.
hiding in a phenotype. They're hiding in the genetics.
That'd make a lot of sense. I would almost agree with that more than anything on here.
If you had to say Megalodon was still alive, that would be the one I would have to
exactly.
put my money on.
Yeah.
Is it something like that they're a phenotypical variation hiding in plain sight?
Because if the teeth are the same, I mean.
Very similar. I wouldn't say the same.
Well,
you know?
right. Obviously things change over millions of years, but I mean, being very similar and it's a shark, why not say it's still the same creature?
So you like that idea, huh?
Yeah, I do. I think that's probably the biggest possibility of them all.
So Max Hawthorne, when he did the 1918 Australian encounter, the shark was portrayed as ghostly white.
Yeah.
So we kind of excluded whale sharks because they're blue or purple or black with white polka dots.
Right.
There's actually a handful of supersized albino whale sharks running around.
Uh-oh.
And they seem to be larger and wider than their cohorts.
And they're all albino?
They're all albino. They're ghostly white.
Wow.
There's some evidence to suggest that there's been whale sharks to get up to 100 feet in length.
It's nuts.
So what if what we're seeing as the Megalodon, and a lot of people think that the Megalodon actually had a body more similar to a whale shark than it did a great white or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
What if you're seeing an albino whale shark that is 100 foot long, that is so rare, but they do come into shallows. They're not scared of boats generally.
Right.
And they come in and it gets hooked on your fishing gear. And it's truly a fish. If you're in a 50-foot boat and it's double your size, we're talking 2 semi-trailers.
Right, yeah. It's so big. It's hard to even put
2
that in.
semis. Imagine 2 semis tail to tail.
It's hard to even
And this is
imagine.
already the biggest shark. you
Right,
know.
right.
It was already rivaling, an adult whale shark is rivaling a megalodon in size. So imagine now that these genetic variants are getting massive. That's Max Hawthorne's idea, and he points to in several of his research of these ancient whale sharks that would get probably 100, 110 feet long. It may be the biggest fish to ever exist by a landslide,
Yeah, not even close.
and they're still out there.
These
There's
albino ones.
Yeah, so there's a 65-foot albino one that is a lot wider than it should be.
Oh my gosh.
So it's looking like there's some genetic variations in there that make them larger.
Like it's an old trait that kind
That
of.
or it's a genetic hiccup.
Yeah. Okay.
That it just happens. It pops out every once in a while. It makes them really big.
Yeah.
And that could be a thing that why they survive is they have to be like generally albino animals to survive have to be bigger and more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
So it
albino sperm whales and
It
such.
could be attached to the albino gene or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's what we're seeing, and they look very scary because it's a giant white shark.
Yeah.
It's great white sharks aren't white on top.
No.
So when everybody says white shark, in Australia they're just called white sharks.
Mm-hmm.
So what if this is a gigantic? This is what I think is happening, mostly.
You think it's misidea of a albino whale
I think
shark?
it's misidea of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think these big famous sightings
Mm-hmm.
are actually the subset, or maybe even there's some evidence suggests it's a different species of whale shark.
Like it's a whole different. Okay.
And they're the biggest fish to ever live, and they're so rare and they're so hidden.
How much of these? I mean, could this be Moby Dick's white whale he referred to?
So there's been white humpbacks. There's 3 or 4 white humpbacks tagged right now in the world, and there's white sperm whales that's what we think it was, is a white sperm whale.
How studied are these whale sharks? These albino
Not.
at all?
There's only one, I think, that big the 65-footer that's tagged.
It's even just tagged.
I don't even think it's tagged. I think it's only been seen a handful of times. There's great photos of it, though. If you look it up, the photographer that swam with him,
Yeah.
great photos. It's wider, and they have these ridges on their back that is to help break wind or water currents, and we think Megalodon had the same thing.
Yeah. And as far and then they have the same feeding.
Let's say that caught on your crab line.
Yeah. I would,
So it looks like it's eating them.
I had to cut the line right there.
But yeah, so let's say it looks like it's eating them, but it's really just dragging your crab pots out to the ocean.
Just pulling them away. Yeah. I never even heard of this ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm good at.
That's what you come to this show for, you know?
So what do you think? What if you had to put your money? If you had to bet?
Well, in that one account, that seems to fit, especially if we've already seen them. Like if it's actually documented and there's photos of them. Of course, that could be a very well possibility because we know they're there. But I didn't know these were there. That'd be cool if it was a whole different like subspecies of whale shark, or like even an older species that's kind of just stuck around or hung on. That'd be really interesting to know.
And here's my thing with Megalodon in sightings today.
It's the true great white shark.
So it's like the Partridge Creek beast, which is a feathered theropod from the 1800s seen in Canada.
Yeah.
They were saying it was covered in feathers and it looked like a big duck. Well before, 100 years before we even knew dinosaurs,
Right.
big theropods had feathers.
Right. I mean, look at Jurassic Park.
That points to me it being more real than not.
Right.
Megalodon, nobody can agree on anything about it.
Because we never seen one.
Right. So it could be this gigantic wide filter feeder, or this gigantic wide, still predator, but this oceanic glider.
Yeah.
And so the sightings of this giant black, like the black demon in the Pacific Ocean, which is a whole other episode, is a giant black shark.
Mm-hmm.
It is seen that it attacks boats and stuff like that, but it looks more like a great white,
Okay.
which is black.
Yeah.
So that may not even fit the Megalodon phenotype at all.
Yeah.
It may not like the shape and everything about it. Megalodons could have had massive fins like an eagle shark,
Yeah.
and they could be these big oceanic gliders like whale sharks.
Yeah. We literally have no idea.
So that's why I think Megalodon to me. So I'll give my final opinions and I'll let you go. Megalodon to me is 100% extinct, or as close as you can, with the variability of error, because of what it fed upon. It's very, very specialized reproductive strategy. They only had about 1 to 2 pups at a time. And they came out like 6 to 10 feet long. But they had a very specialized area. They had very specialized prey that is no longer around. They had very specialized competitors, and they were the bottom of the food chain for their specialized competitors. There was, to me, a lot of nails in the coffin at an extinction event. So stuff like orcas, out of the 3 big predators at the time, they got to survive because they were much more varied. They weren't specialized.
Okay.
Leviathan and Megalodon were specialized. with the big whales. So Leviathan and adult Megalodon ate big cetaceans. They ate big whales. Juvenile Megalodon, though, specialized in fish and small species of whale.
Right.
So the small, like the tiny species, like the pygmy sperm whales are the only thing. There's a couple small baleen whales I can think of that are only like 10 to 15 feet long, living in shallowish waters. They're the only things left. You know, we're talking about when there was dozens, if not, you know, tens of dozens of species.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So to me, there was too many nails for them to be left, and their competitors went out that were better suited for the times. Mammals have parental instincts. Mammals, you know, they've dominated a lot of stuff because of that, those factors.
Right. Yeah.
So if the Leviathan maybe didn't survive, or maybe did, but in very limited numbers survived past the Megalodon, then why would the Megalodon survive, in my head?
Right.
And there's all this stuff about, you know, the mega movies coming out with saying they're living in the deep trenches. That's not that kind of shark. And I'm not saying, I'm going to make this very clear. I'm not saying there's not supersized sharks out there. I really do think there's supersized sharks out there. But I think Otodus Megalodon is extinct.
So it's just done.
That's what
No more.
I think. And I think we're just seeing other supersized sharks
Right.
and calling them Megalodon because it's the fun name.
Right. It's the name that gets all the
There's
the
movies about
clicks.
it.
Yeah,
There's,
it's in all the media. It's just in our subconscious. Everyone almost knows about the Megalodon shark.
It's a name. It's a household name.
Yeah, and it's a big
And I
scary
just-
shark. Like that's in our heads. That's where it's portrayed as always.
So what's your thoughts?
I really like the. So I think I think the great white theory, you know, shark, you know, them kind of almost evolving or changing to being smaller, because I in my opinion, I mean, I'm not the biologist, I don't know, but seeing those big teeth when they come up, you know, I just feel like that's a big predator, like the great white, and I think if you know, there was massive extinction events or things like that. If the species were to survive or needed to survive, it would have to change in ways. And, you know, let's say if there was a big massive extinction and a lot of their food sources are now gone, what if they just, you know, it did as a phenotype thing where they just shrank over time? Or what if they they bred themselves into extinction, where, you know, kind of with other similar sharks? Maybe there was another Megalodon shark that was smaller, and they bred with them.
So there were species that were
Yeah.
the size of great white sharks today.
So what if they just bred with them, and like that? Those are the ones. And
So
they kind of
it
outbred
really
themselves
depends on
to survive.
how distantly related they are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the 65-foot Megalodon is not breeding with anything that is 25 feet long.
Right. Yeah.
It's the
Mechanics.
the mechanics do not work.
Right. Maybe more damage.
Because sharks. So here's the thing for kids. Turn off. You know, if you got kids for a minute. Great white shark reproduction, Megalodon reproduction, the big live-bearing sharks, it's rough.
Ooh.
So like basically, like great whites have like 3 penises or 3 kind of sets of their genitalia. They get to the opening, the vent of the female. The 2 have teeth or hooks on them that forcibly open her up.
Oh.
So the third one can deposit, and it normally tears and it's bloody. That's why great white sharks have almost only been exclusively breeding around dead whales, whale carcasses, because they have to wait for the female to get so full and lethargic
She can't
she can't fight back.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Because that's why you see all these males have like chunks out of their head and stuff like that from trying to
Wow.
breed.
Oh, because the female
The
turns
female
around
just
and
turns
bites
around
him.
and literally tries to kill him. And like like there's whole gill covers I've seen missing and stuff like that.
And that's exactly why you take a woman out on a dinner date first.
So now imagine if
Because if you don't, she will turn around and bite your head off.
an 18-foot great white is trying to breed with a big Megalodon or vice versa. It doesn't work.
But it does put a funny visual in your head, like
She
Wait,
will bite them in half.
yeah, if she's the big one, yeah.
It doesn't, and then the great white shark male will not work either.
Yeah, I know.
It'll
Flipping it
rip
the
it in
other way.
half.
I mean, he. Boy, peels are open like I don't.
And then they had very low fecundity or producing of offspring.
Oh, okay.
Megalodons.
Yeah.
So they only produced 1 to 2 pups at a time, and it took a long time to produce. So there's just a lot of stuff stacked up against them.
Yeah.
Supersized, specialized animals are normally the first ones to go.
I mean, we've had, but like looking back, you know, like sloths, for example, you know, your big sloths back in the day.
Not specialized.
No, but I'm just saying, like creatures in general.
Yeah.
they definitely existed. We definitely had megafauna in the past for sure, 100%. And now everything is relatively smaller. You know, there's still a few that are still big, but relatively just about everything on Earth.
Like we talked about this off air, the whole section of whales that Megalodon feasted upon are gone.
Right, yeah.
Like there's the small porpoises and like false whales and stuff like that that are super fast and aggressive.
Or even the big turtles too.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, we're talking about Archelon and stuff like that, you know,
the big,
the real big
guys.
turtles.
Yeah.
And the supersized whales are just too big to tackle.
Right.
Even for stuff like Megalodon and Leviathan. Like humpbacks and some of the smaller ones survive, but they are in super protective groups.
Right, yeah.
They're not easy to get up, you know.
I guess my thoughts in my head are just like, you know,
it is the ocean.
Right, it's the ocean. Anything could make it, but I like the great white idea of them just kind of is that convergent evolution shrinking over time, or that's not that. That's
Wait, which
else.
one are you trying to say?
What?
That they just got smaller?
Yeah, I just think
so. The mass extinction event, I think, happened too quick for that, and there was already smaller species of Megalodon. Yeah. I think those would have survived.
Right,
and we would see them.
What do you mean?
So why would they be 60 to 100 foot now if they got smaller then?
Wait. I think maybe I'm not following.
So you're saying that they convergently got smaller? Yeah,
over time just got.
So why are we
smaller.
seeing 60 to 100 foot sharks now?
Oh, I think some of them still like. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so what would be the reason for them shrinking if things like that still exist now?
Yeah, they didn't shrink then.
Well, maybe just over. Maybe there was a certain amount of time that passed to where like maybe now big ones are able to make it or something. I don't know, or maybe it's a whole different thing.
It's like nothing has happened to change. That's why I think it's a different shark.
Gotcha.
I can see other species of sharks. We're talking about Megalodon were specialized whale hunters.
Yeah.
And that's not there anymore.
Well, maybe they weren't. Maybe some of them were. Maybe others weren't. Maybe the great white is still just a megalodon.
And there's that chance. I don't know how likely that is. I haven't looked at bone comparisons and stuff like that.
I just want to see one of them teeth in a living creature and just see what this friggin' thing look like. When these teeth are just massive. I just want to see one. So I don't know if you can do it like where you get one of them teeth and you touch it and you get some like psychic that can just like reverse time.
Go to the Vatican.
And go through like that portal and the viewing machine and then get eaten by it. Probably most likely if you're there, you get sucked through a portal in the past.
You heard it here first. Great whites can eat astral projections.
They can. They very much can. That's why they have that crazy look in their eye.
All right. I have been the great and powerful mystery.
I've been the infamous Jay.
No clone today.
Nope, you get the real deal.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Cryptids of the Corn podcast.
Please share with a friend you think would like us. It's the best way to help our show grow.
Leave a comment, rate us, a 5-star review, and remember, there is always extra content on Patreon/CryptidsOfTheCorn.com.
And don't forget, stay magical.